The storm had rolled over the plains for 2 days straight, cold rain pounding against the earth like a drum of sorrow. The roads turned to mud, the sky stayed gray, and the wind howled through the cracks of every lonely home in Red Creek. That evening, rancher Samuel Hayes was riding home from town with a loaf of bread, a can of beans, and little else. The drought had ruined his last harvest. He sold half his cattle to pay debts, and now only had enough left to keep the land alive barely. But he was used to being alone, used to hardship. He wasn't used to what he saw that night. As he passed the old oak bridge, something in the shadows caught his eye, a flicker of movement, a soft whimper. He stopped, climbed down, and saw them. A woman and a small boy huddled under a soaked blanket. The boy's lips were blue, his hands shaking. The woman looked up, eyes hollow yet proud. "Please, sir," she whispered, "we haven't eaten in 5 days." Samuel stared at the bread in his saddlebag. It was supposed to be his meal for the next 2 days. His only meal. Without hesitation, he tore the loaf in half and handed it to her. She blinked in disbelief. "We can't take that." "You can, ma'am," he interrupted gently. "And you will, you're on my land now." The woman's name was Margaret Dunn. Her husband had died in a mining collapse up north. She sold everything trying to reach her sister in Texas, only to find out too late that her sister had passed months earlier. Now she and her little boy Eli had nowhere left to go. Samuel helped them onto his horse and brought them to his ranch, a small, weathered cabin surrounded by endless acres of brown grass. He stoked the fire, dried their clothes, and served the last of his beans. Little Eli ate slowly, smiling faintly. "Mister, this is the best food I've ever had." Samuel chuckled, though his eyes glistened. "That's because you were hungry, son." As the night wore on, Margaret sat near the fire, staring into the flames. "I should thank you properly," she said softly, "but I've got nothing left to give." Samuel shook his head. "You've given me something I ain't had in a long time, ma'am." "What's that?" "Company." Days turned into weeks. Samuel built them a small room off the kitchen, fixed Eli's shoes, and taught the boy how to feed the horses. The ranch felt alive again, laughter echoing through walls that had long been silent. One morning, Margaret insisted on helping. "You've done too much. Let me earn my keep." She started baking bread, cleaning the barn, mending clothes. The house began to smell like warmth and cinnamon. Samuel, who once thought love was a fool's luxury, found himself looking forward to each sunrise. But small towns love gossip, and soon Red Creek was whispering. "Hayes took in that widow. She'll ruin him. She's just after his land." Margaret heard them. One afternoon she stood on the porch, tears glistening. "Maybe we should leave," she said. "You've done enough." Samuel looked at her, his hat in hand. "Margaret, I don't give a damn what they say. I see the truth. You saved this place more than I ever could." She blinked. "Saved it?" He nodded slowly. "Before you came, I was just breathing. Now I'm living again." Winter came hard that year. One night, a blizzard swept through Red Creek, cutting off the roads and freezing the well. Samuel tried to fetch water from the river, but his horse slipped on the ice. He fell, injuring his leg badly. Margaret found him hours later, half-conscious, and dragged him back through the snow with bare hands, whispering prayers the whole way. When he woke, she was sitting by his side, holding his hand, her face pale from exhaustion. "You should have let me go," he rasped. Her eyes filled. "Don't you ever say that again. You gave us life when we had none. I wasn't about to lose you." He smiled weakly, then it settled. "What is?" "You ain't ever leaving this ranch again." Spring came early. The snow melted, flowers returned, and Samuel's leg healed slowly. One evening, as the sun set behind the hills, he stood with Margaret on the porch. "You ever think about starting over?" he asked. She sighed. "I have, but I'm not sure where I'd go." He looked at her, really looked, at the way her hair glowed in the sunset, at the strength hidden behind her softness. Then he said quietly, "You could stay here as Mrs. Hayes." Margaret froze. "Samuel." He smiled faintly. "I don't have much left, just this ranch, this land, and a fool's heart that's been waiting for a woman like you." Tears slipped down her cheeks. "You'd give your name to someone like me." Samuel stepped closer. "I'd give you everything I got because you gave me back my reason to wake up." She took his hand, trembling. "Then I'll take your name, but not because I need saving, because I finally found home." He leaned in, kissed her forehead, and whispered, "Then it's settled, Mrs. Hayes." Inside the cabin, little Eli ran up, clutching a small wooden horse Samuel had carved for him. "Mama, are we staying?" Margaret knelt, hugging him tight. "Yes, baby," she said through tears. "We're staying." The boy grinned. "Does that mean Mr. Hayes is my papa now?" Samuel smiled, lifting the boy into his arms. "If you'll have me, son." And as the sun sank beyond the fields, the ranch that once echoed with loneliness was filled with laughter, warmth, and love. Because sometimes the greatest wealth isn't gold or cattle. It's a loaf of bread, a little kindness, and the courage to give someone your last night.